Wait, is this New World Void Gauntlet, all abilities and everything you need to know? Is this what we want to watch?
Everything we know so far about the Void Gauntlet, Bordy. So the first time we
that looks sick. That looks sick. Hey, I have the same mic as this guy. So sure, Mike Brothers. All right, as much as I care about how they look, what I really care about is the abilities and like this, if we can see the skill trees, because based on how the abilities look and the skill trees look, I can pretty much tell if it's going to be good or bad with the Ice Gauntlet. And I think I want to see if Ice Gauntlet Void Gauntlet would be a good combo. And if it scales off int and focus, and how much it scales off int and focus, because that's also important.
You can go over to New World Fans. We posted an article about all the new weapons that are potentially coming to New World. And of course, one of those was the Void Gauntlet. So we learned that the Void Gauntlet is going to scale primarily off of intellect and have focus right? As a secondary stat.
Wait, so it's how can you tell if it's primary one and secondary the other? It's light or dark. Okay, so it's primary. If it's primary int, that's huge. That means it's going to scale really, really, really well. If it's primary focus, that's not as huge. So when you go in game, Hatchet, for example, is light here and it's dark here. And then like Musket is dark here, but it's light here. Okay, that makes sense. So if it's actually primary int, dude, we are farming. We are farming.
Now, if it follows the rest of the trends, you'll get the 90% scaling off of intellect and the 65% off of focus. And this was confirmed in the video that leaked. We also
wait, hold on.
And this was confirmed in the video that sent off of focus. Intellect and the 65% off of focus. And this was confirmed in the video that leaked. We also got the equip animation.
If it's 90%, did I hear that right? 90% on intelligence, and then so you get 90% intelligence scaling, and then what did he say? 65% focus. That's really good, right? I don't know how that math works out because that doesn't add to 100, but that's still pretty good. Dude, it would just be sick to be walking around with 2 gauntlets on your hands. Like to have one void, one ice, and you're just swapping between one or the other. Like, oh man. 90 to 60 is standard. Okay, great.
A big warlock guy, and I can't wait to get this thing equipped. And
absolutely.
Bordy, we do have the 6 abilities as well that someone put out on Reddit. So we're going to go through these. Obviously, these aren't completely confirmed yet. New World has not come out and said, but these are very well fleshed out with tooltips.
Oh, sick.
So
okay.
I think potentially there might be some tweaking, but these are going to be the abilities, the active abilities that we're going to see with the Void Gauntlet. So, Bordy, take it away with the first ability.
All right, so the first ability we have here is called Decaying Orb, and it fires an unblockable orb that passes through enemies and inflicts Disintegrate, dealing X% weapon damage per second and reducing damage absorption by X% for X.
All right, hold on. I'm going to pause this. So, fire an unblockable orb that passes through enemies. So, this is like... reminds me of like Arcane Orb if you guys played WoW. And inflicts Disintegrate, dealing weapon damage per second and reducing damage absorption by X amount for X seconds. Okay.
Seconds. At max range, it transforms into a healing orb and returns healing friendlies for X% weapon damage per second for X seconds. I really
What? Oh, at max range, Decaying Orb transforms into a healing orb and returns. So this is actually not like Arcane Orb. This is more like the priest ability that we used to have. It's like, it's the orb from League of Legends. There's an orb, Orianna, I think, had an orb like this. And then Divine Star, the priest ability. It's very similar to Divine Star, like Orianna or something. Overwatch's Moria Orb. Okay, so, oh my gosh. This is actually really cool. The heal is just a noob failsafe for people that can't aim. Dude, what if you just want it for the heal? I mean, dude, I'm already gonna play this because it has a heal. Healing friendlies for X weapon damage in seconds. Like, it already has a heal. You scale it on int and it has a heal, sign me up, right? If it scales on int and has a heal, like, I'm already sold. I'm literally already sold, right? So is it only friendlies that the orb goes through? Maybe that's not yourself. Maybe it doesn't count yourself. But still, even if it's an orb that heals friendlies that scales on int, that's dope. I don't know. I'm only 2 minutes into this video, but I'm already pretty sold on playing this.
like that. Red is kind of like a boomerang effect. Yeah, it's like a damages and then heals on the way back. I really like that. So as you progress into Decaying Orb, you're also going to get a increased percentage of a mana per enemy hit. It's going to also slow your enemies already afflicted by any debuff, reducing your movement speed by X% for X seconds. And then if you press the ability input again to detonate the orb within a certain amount of meters explosion radius, depending on the orb's phase, the explosion will either damage enemies and apply a stack of disintegrate, or it's going to heal friendlies for X% weapon damage. I think that's pretty cool.
So if you detonate it on yourself, what if it's like going out and then coming back? You could detonate the orb on yourself and it would probably heal you, right? Or if it would probably just heal you when it hits you anyway. It would probably just heal you when it hits you anyway, is what I'm guessing. But regardless, it seems like you could make it heal yourself.
Cool too, man. There's a lot of utility in that one ability, Decaying Orb, right there, and it's pretty interesting, man. You can do damage and heal, and it sounds like as you use that input again, depending on the orb's phase, you're gonna have to time it right to determine if you're gonna do damage or heal. I like that a lot. There's kind of some skill involved there. So
yeah,
we also have
some skill involved. Yeah.
Here is called Draining Tether. So you're gonna fire a projectile that
Thanks,
tethers you to an enemy. It's gonna weaken the enemy, and it's gonna empower you for X amount or X percentage per second, and then the tether ends.
All right, hold on. I'm more of like a reader instead of a listener. Like I almost need to read this myself. If I hear someone else say it, it's just like I need to like pause it. All right, fire a projectile that tethers you to an enemy, weakening it and empowering you. So this is like a dot by X per second. The tether ends if the target moves beyond 10 meters. Oh, so it's a dot that empowers you, weakens them, but if they just roll once or twice, they're out of it. So this seems kind of trash. I mean, well, if you freeze them and then use this, but that's kind of janky. I don't know. Yeah, if you freeze them and then use this, it could maybe work, but then is that even worth it? Like, you'd rather just hit a heavy attack.
Weaken the enemy, and it's going to empower you for X amount or X.
I don't know. I don't know if this is good or bad.
And then the tether ends if the target moves beyond 10 meters. So successful hits against tethered targets reduce other Void Gauntlet cooldowns by X%.
So like realistically, like this seems nice, but if you tether someone and then you're trying to get successive hits just to reduce your abilities, it's just a lot for like almost nothing. So this seems a little weaker to me.
If you go on down and upgrade this ability once, if you upgrade it again, you get a X% mana regeneration while the tether is active. And then the last upgrade to this ability is you regain X% weapon damage as health if the tethered target dies, which is pretty cool. I like that.
Oh, if it dies. Okay, so you get HP back if it dies, but in PvP, that's not really going to be a thing. If you kill a target, you already won, so the heal doesn't matter. It could help in like 1v2, 1vx situations, but overall, I think this is more of a PvE talent, right? Because in PvP, if you're moving more than 10 yards, which is always happening, you're not going to just like stand there. If anyone's good, they're just going to roll once or twice and they're out of it anyway. I don't know. This talent seems more of like a PvE pick for me.
That too. So a lot of ways to self-heal sounds like here with these first two abilities. So what about the third ability and the key passive here, Red?
Yes, so the third ability in this particular tree is called Essence Rupture. Fire a projectile that inflicts Essence Rupture for X amount of seconds.
All right, hold on. I have to read it myself, dude. I'm so bad at like listening, man. I need to read. All right, fire a projectile that inflicts Essence Rupture for X seconds, healing anyone that hits the target for X% of the damage done. So it puts on a dot that gives you healing. This is like Vampiric Embrace. This is like Shadow Priest Vampiric Embrace. This is VE, right? This is really good. Guys, once again, if this scales on int and it gives you healing back in any way, shape, or form, this is insane. It's for everyone. Yeah, so in like in a raid or something, in a dungeon, max level dungeon, this is like crazy good. But even in PvP, this is pretty good because it gives you some type of sustained heal. I don't know. I think this is a good talent, even in PvP.
Healing anyone that hits the target for X percentage damage done.
So cool.
Insanely powerful, dude. You can kind of start to see, and we'll mention another ability later that kind of makes you think that the Void Gauntlet could be a way to tank even, or a nice back bar weapon for a tank. So
Dude, it's sick. This character in the game with this video has an ice gauntlet and a void gauntlet. It's like exactly what I want to do, man.
Maybe.
Here's
He's running out of 2 gauntlets.
Essence Rupture. Players additionally receive stamina when hitting the afflicted target. So
wow,
again,
that's insane.
A good thing for tanks.
That's insane.
Friendlies within X amount of meters of the affected target are healed for X% of your weapon damage when Essence Rupture ends. Another good healing ability.
Yeah,
there
it's
for
a lot of good
support.
heals.
The final or the ultimate passive in this tree is called Void Conversion. Gain a stack of Void Essence per successful ability hit. At X amount of stacks, your next successful heavy attack will instantly reset all Void Gauntlet cooldowns and remove all stacks of Void Essence. So, dude, Bordy, a very powerful ultimate there to cap off this tree. Why don't you tell us about...
So if you hit a heavy attack after a certain amount of stacks, we don't know how many stacks, it's just going to reset all your CDs so you can just use it again. I mean, that seems pretty good. Imagine Life Staff and Void Gauntlet. Dude, imagine Ice Gauntlet and Void Gauntlet. Like, you guys have no idea how excited I am for this.
About the passives located.
This looks amazing.
Void Gauntlet Mastery Tree.
Yeah, so some of the passives you're going to get is you're going to get a % cooldown reduction on successful light attacks against targets that are more than X meters away.
Okay.
You're going to get a % of your mana when successfully hitting targets with light attacks while all abilities are on cooldown. Your mana costs are going to be reduced by X% while above X% mana. Cooldowns are reduced by a certain percentage per second while performing Harvest. Successful heavy attacks against enemies below a certain percentage health.
Wait, what's while performing Harvest?
Against enemies below a certain percentage health restores an additional percentage of the damage done as health. That's pretty nice.
Wait, hold on. This one. Cooldowns are reduced by X amount % while performing Harvest. What's Harvest? Was that one of the abilities? Does it scale with Int? Yeah, Int primarily, and then Focus after.
Cooldowns are reduced by a certain percentage per second while performing Harvest. Successful
Harvesting bushes and shit. Is it actually just Harvest? That sucks if it, like, there's no way. Refreshing it reduces your cooldowns when you're out of combat harvesting something. That doesn't make any sense. There's no way. There's no way.
Heavy attacks against enemies below a
Alright, successful.
certain percentage health restores an additional percentage of the damage done as health. That's pretty nice. Successful heavy attacks increase.
So this is just straight up leech here. Heavy attacks against enemies below a certain health restore health back to you. Like, this is incredible. This is really good. If it scales on Int, guys, like, you can just top yourself off. Like, this is like gonna be my favorite weapon, dude.
The duration of your applied non-crowd control debuffs by a certain percentage, and then dodging with full mana resets the lowest active cooldown. So there's a lot of ways to reduce your cooldowns within these passives, it seems like, and then there is also some additional ways to heal there too. So very support-ish.
Harvest is an ability on the other tree. That makes sense. Okay.
Type of tree, it sounds like.
Yeah, nice balance between, you know, ways to kind of hurt your enemy and heal your allies. So I love that, dude. So here are the next, this is a separate tree, you know, obviously the opposite tree in the mastery skill tree of the Void Gauntlet. And the first ability here, and another kind of tanky ability, is a Void Blade, dude. Summon a blade of void energy that converts your basic attacks to melee attacks. Tap basic attack to perform a quick slash that deals X% weapon damage, or hold it to perform a thrust attack that deals X% weapon damage. Both attacks inflict disintegrate on each successful hit, dealing X% of weapon damage per second and reducing damage absorption by X% for X amount of seconds. Again, damage.
Wow. So you just literally pull out a sword from your Void Gauntlet, and now you're a melee. That, I mean, I don't think I'm gonna play that because I like casters, but that's insane. That's insane for people that like a melee/melee heal class like that. I don't know. That's kind of legit.
Mitigation there on the Void Gauntlet. So here are the mods for Void Blade. X% critical damage on Void Blade attacks. You will gain Fortify on start, increasing damage absorption for X% for X amount of seconds. And successful heavy attacks heal self for X% of weapon damage per disintegration stack on target.
Wow. So it's a lot of leech. It's a lot of leech based on Int. Like, that's huge.
Target, dude. So again, the Void
That's
Blade
huge.
seems like an amazingly cool ability. Bordy, here's the next ability in this tree, the Punishing Chamber. Summon a circle of void energy at your feet, dealing X% weapon damage per second to enemies and grants some power to friendly, increasing their damage by X% within the radius. This lasts 8 seconds. Your Void Gauntlet mana costs
Rune of Power
while inside of the Punishing Chamber. And then X% stamina per second for self and friendlies while stamina.
For PvP, I don't think that's going to be that good.
The Punishing Chamber here, Bordy. So tell us real quick here. This ability is used.
I feel like for PvP, you're not just gonna like want to put a circle down and get stamina and get an empowerment. You have to keep rolling and gotta keep moving. And I feel like for PvP, this is not gonna be that insane. For PvE, it sounds fantastic. Your entire group's just gonna stack in the circle and get a buff. Like, that's great. But yeah.
Used by one of the mobs in the game over there, Brightwood. They have Alchemy Island, is what we call it. But dude, we had the Void Geist over there that would trap you in a little bit of a void circle. And if you went outside of that, you got stunned. So that animation, I wonder, is similar to Punishing Chamber.
Yeah, sounds very similar for sure. And I think that we've seen that before with other mobs that have similar abilities that's incorporated into the game. And I think that's something that we can kind of continue to see. Or, well, maybe we will. Maybe that's kind of a telltale sign, Red. Some of the mobs that have some of these abilities or some of these weapons we haven't seen, maybe we'll see some of that.
Is that the weapon right there in the video?
Yeah. So
no, it's not.
The other two abilities in this tree, one of them is called Petrifying Scream. You're going to unleash a void-infused scream. It's going to deal a certain % weapon damage, and it's going to inflict root to enemies 4 meters in front of you, disabling their movement.
Yes,
for a specific.
This is good. This is what we're talking about. This is what we're talking about. It's a root damage ability 4 meters in front of you. It's like a cone of cold. This is sick. This is great for PvP. So you can throw down your ice root and try to kill them. And then if that doesn't work, you can swap, like they dodge it or whatever, or they use a trinket to get out of it with their hatchet. You can swap to your Void Gauntlet and Petrifying Screen them in place, and then kite them this way. This is dope.
Front of you, disabling their movement for a specified duration. So your root duration is increased by a few seconds on targets below a certain % health, and then you're also going to gain fortify for each enemy hit, increasing damage absorption by a certain % for a certain amount of seconds. So the key passive here, or the ultimate in this tree, is called Void Aura, and I like this one, Red. On successful ability hit, gain a stack of void essence. At 6 stacks, you're going to consume all of those stacks, and you're going to gain an aura on yourself that's going to heal your friendlies for a certain percentage of your weapon damage, and it's going to deal a certain % of weapon damage per second to enemies that are within that aura. Dude, I like that a lot. That seems incredibly strong. Now, we don't know.
I'm going to go back and read this. All right, so on successful abilities hit, gain a stack of void essence. At 6 stacks, consume all those stacks and gain an aura on yourself that heals friendlies for X weapon. I wonder if that includes yourself for weapon damage and deals weapon damage per second to enemies within. So you just get like this crazy aura at 6 stacks, which is dope. I wonder if that heals you. And then it says weapon attack, weapon damage. I wonder if this is only when you take the sword out, or if it's on all attacks even without the sword. Because I wonder if you play without the sword, if you can still get Void Aura. Because if you get Void Aura without the sword, that's fucking amazing anyway, right? I mean, you can just get a heal. So it depends on, can you get this without the sword? And does the heal work without the sword? And does it heal yourself? Like, those are the questions, right?
That aura, dude, I like that a lot. That seems incredibly strong. Now, we don't know how much damage it's going to deal or how much it's going to heal for. I guess we kind of do your certain percentage of your weapon damage, but we don't fully know those numbers yet, so we don't know exactly how strong that's going to be. But it sounds incredible, man. I love that that key passive for that ultimate in that tree.
Yes, and these void essences seem to be a theme throughout the entire mastery tree of the Void Gauntlet, Bordy, because you know, and we'll see how these stacks, they seem to be used in different ways depending on the different abilities that you choose. Here are the passives real quick in that tree. So you'll get X% weapon damage while below X mana. So almost the opposite of the other tree where you want to kind of be at max level. Is X% crit chance while above X% health, X% crit chance while all abilities are on cooldown, X% cooldown reduction on all abilities on critical hit,
Wow.
gain in power while casting ability.
It'll be interesting to see how all of these synergize, because it seems like if you make a build and synergize in a specific way, a lot of these things are going to bounce back and forth with synergy. So that's pretty cool.
Within X amount of an enemy, increasing damage for X%. So that just promotes like the Void Blade and how to use that. Our Harvest additionally restores X% stamina per second. On critical hit, gain health equal to X% damage done.
Okay, that's insane. That's insane.
Cooldown reduction for all abilities when successfully hitting enemies that are affected by X or more debuff stacks, assumingly from the Void Gauntlet. Because as we know, the spear used to scale off of every debuff on the enemy, and that got nerfed pretty quickly, dude. So I'm sure the Void Gauntlet is just from the Void Gauntlet, but maybe not, dude. And then they'll just, I mean, if it's not on launch, it will definitely be about a week later, because that weapon is going to be extremely broken.
All right, cool. Well, that's the Void Gauntlet. Those are all of the abilities. Did I just get DC'd from New World? Bro! You've been kicked from the game for too long. Okay, we're here. All right, that's the Void Gauntlet. Those are all the abilities. To be honest, that is better than I thought. We're going to have heals. It's going to scale on int, not on focus. I can almost guarantee I'm going to be playing Void Gauntlet over my Fire Staff. I can almost guarantee it. It has a root. It has like a Divine Star heal. It has damage. When you crit, it heals you back. It just seems really good. I don't know what the third talent I'm going to pick is. Those two for sure. Depends on how some of the other ones interact. I probably won't play this. I probably won't play with the sword, but I don't know 100%. But regardless, I'm stoked. I'm stoked. I'm really stoked. I'm glad I watched that video. That's cool.